About 1 million species of animals and plants around the world are now at risk of extinction.
An alarming new report just released by the UN that says roughly 1 million species are on the verge of extinction.
It's hard to miss something that weighs 37 billion tons. That's the amount of fossil fuel-related carbon dioxide humans release into the atmosphere every year.
They say human behavior alongside the impact of climate change has put an unprecedented 1 million animals and plant species at risk of extinction.
Animals are getting larger beaks, legs, and ears that allow them to better regulate their body temperatures as the planet gets hotter. But they stressed we don't know if they will be able to keep up as the climate crisis worsens.
The carbon cycle is a biogeochemical cycle that involves the movement of carbon within the Earth's ecosystem. National Geographic stated that carbon is an essential element for all living organisms. The cycle starts with having the said element in the atmosphere, making it available for plants and animals to respire. Since the said element is now present in the atmosphere, plants also make use of it to conduct photosynthesis. Consequently, animals will consume plants, and the carbon contained in those plants will be incorporated into their own bodies. Furthermore, us humans also contribute to the carbon cycle through the act of exhalation. The carbon cycle continues through, but not limited to, the above-mentioned processes. Once this cycle breaks down, loss of all life forms is just one of the consequences that we might face in the future.
Fauna, or animal life, is linked to the carbon cycle in the following ways. First is animal respiration. When animals breathe, carbon dioxide is released into the atmosphere, helping maintain the carbon cycle. Next is through consumption. Fauna gains carbon through the consumption of plants or other animals, thus transporting carbon within the ecosystem. Next is decomposition. When animals die, the tretivores break down their remnants, returning carbon into the soil. Fauna are essential components of the carbon cycle because they interact with carbon in a variety of ways, including respiration, consumption, and decomposition. Because their actions have a considerable impact on the movement and distribution of carbon throughout the ecosystem, they are important components of the Earth's biogeochemical cycle.
In a certain area, a living thing that can move on its own accord is referred to as fauna or flora and fauna. This phrase refers to all animal life in a certain area or time. Science has developed to the point that taxonomy and cladistics are now used to characterize these links.
The causes and effects of negative anthropogenic impact on our planet. Anthropogenic impact refers to the adverse effects that human activities, including global trade and agriculture, have on the natural environment, with consequences for ecosystems, biodiversity, and our overall well-being. Let's dive into the causes and effects of this critical issue. Human activities, directly or indirectly, influence these impacts. These actions can result in extensive consequences for our planet. One major effect of human actions is the introduction of non-native species into ecosystems. These species, whether introduced intentionally or unintentionally, can wreak havoc. They disrupt native ecosystems, outcompeting and displacing indigenous organisms. Another significant cause is the alteration of landscapes through land use change. Activities like resource mining and urbanization result in the destruction of natural habitats. This leads to the displacement of species, which lose their homes, and a reduction in available food sources. Resource exploitation, driven by human consumption, is yet another major cause of negative anthropogenic impact, whether it's hunting and fishing for food, deforestation for urbanization and timber, or mining natural resources like coal for power generation. These activities put immense strain on the environment.
Anthropogenic impacts are the consequences of human activity on the environment, including wildlife.
Many of these consequences might be detrimental, jeopardizing the well-being and survival of numerous animal species. Here are some of the common anthropogenic implications on wildlife, as well as ways on how to avoid or lessen them at least. First off, we have habitat destruction and urbanization, which leads to the displacement of species inhabiting their natural habitats. Pollution and illegal poaching, which greatly affects the declining number of some of our species. And of course, climate change, which has an overwhelming effect on our wildlife. To avoid these effects, we must all collectively advocate for animal rights, support local organizations that care for our wildlife, participate in restoration projects in your local areas, and of course, continuously raise awareness when it comes to the effects humanity brings to our fauna or to our wildlife. However, the biggest impacts come from the laws that protect the wildlife. When it comes to dealing with acts such as poaching, illegal wildlife trade, overfishing or dynamite fishing, and even illegal poaching. In order to fully address these damaging anthropogenic effects on fauna, a mix of legislative measures, public awareness campaigns, and sustainability practices are crucial.
Recognizing the importance of fauna in the carbon cycle, we must take proactive measures to ensure their continued presence and functioning. The aforementioned recommendations, including conservation efforts, climate change mitigation, sustainable land use, pollution prevention, invasive species management, and education, collectively represent a comprehensive approach to safeguarding these vital ecological relationships.
By implementing these strategies and raising awareness about the significance of fauna in the carbon cycle, we can work towards a more sustainable coexistence with the natural world. This benefits our ecosystem's health and contributes to the broader goal of addressing climate change and maintaining the delicate balanced life on Earth. In an era marked by increasing environmental challenges, the preservation of fauna and the carbon cycle becomes not just an ecological imperative, but also a moral responsibility. Through these collective actions, we can pave the way for a more harmonious and sustainable future where fauna continues to thrive and play their indispensable role in the intricate tapestry of life on our planet.
Fauna, or animal life, is linked to the carbon cycle